On this episode,
we try to fit a 7M GTE in a JZX81. Will it work? Stay tuned and find out. It's been almost a year since I picked up this motor from BJ at PDR Engines in Baton Rouge. This motor was actually built in 2020 for his business partner to put into his Mark II Supra. They put it in, they drove it, ran it for about 600 miles, and then decided, hey, I want to do a 2JZ. So they pulled it out and it's been sitting, waiting for its new home. My JZX81. And now we cut the jack, drilling the hole for the front dipstick tube for the front sump oil pan. And now, on with the show!
Alright, so we're out here, finally working on the 7M GTE. This is the R154 I got from a Supra for pretty cheap. As you can see, I've already put the Cressida or X8 trans cross member on there. And you can see it already comes with a clutch and flywheel ready to go. This thing also has 550cc injectors. It's got a bigger turbo. I can't remember if he said it was a 57 trim or a 61, but it's not a normal CT20. Custom CPS cover made by Carl, not me, but a different Carl. I'm about to pull this oil pan off, clean up the area, and put that pan on. The oil filter relocation thing for 7M, can't use it because it interferes with the motor mount, because the Cressida or X8 motor mounts sit there, while the ones for the Supra sit one space over. I gotta convert this thing back to normal fuel pressure regulator because they have a AN fitting, which is buried underneath the wiring there. But if I'm correct, what BJ said is like I think they said they dynoed this thing around 400 horsepower. I think I may be wrong on that. It's possible. So way more than I am ever gonna use. I'm planning on using very stock power to first get going, you know, because I haven't drifted in a long time, and just want to enjoy the car. One is, since it's capable, I can do things like upgrade up the boost, put a boost controller, up the fuel pressure, little things like that, and it will be ready to go, so to speak. Gotten the pan off, we've cleaned all the surfaces, but ran into a little problem, and that is the dipstick for the rear sump. As you can see, it sticks out pretty far. Because as I'm hammering it, it looks like, even though I'm hitting with a rubber mallet, the end is mushrooming. So I don't just want to go grab a big mallet, because then I might mushroom it so much that it'll knock it loose, but then it'll mushroom so much it won't go through the hole. Before I do that, I want to get him to look at it. He might be like, oh yeah, just we'll hit it with a hammer, or he might have another solution. So now I'm waiting on that. I was gonna record, but this camera, then it was like, oh, we got full storage. You have to transfer it to the other thing, and then it was like, oh, it got hot, and it was like, oh, such a chilling here, waiting on Jeff. This is where the fuel comes in, and he had the stock fuel system thing with the hard line that wormed its way down through here, which I hate, just because it's really hard to deal with. So I'm going to take this off and put on my stuff here. This is going to come off, and then this is going to go in place, and I'll have this hose barb. Now what's great is, this is an AN line right here. Getting rid of the fuel damper, which I talked to BJ, and he's like, yeah, you don't really need it. I mean, he's like, you're not doing daily driving, because daily driving, it's more of a comfort to kind of like keep the fuel pump from getting damaged from sudden shocks from the fuel system. But as he says, like for a race car type application, doesn't really matter. And if anything, I feel like it does, because the problem was this had a banjo fitting in it, like where the gap was, there's a banjo fitting. He says, but he was saying if you do, there's always like aftermarket ones. Like, yeah, like if you look on Radium's website, they make them. So alright. The oil pump doesn't go directly into the block. It has an outlet. This AN outlet now.
This is not for the turbo.
No.
Okay.
Oil pump to block, which then goes to the filter. Oil filter system, yeah. The natural one has like a crimp. Yeah. Alright, so I might notice a difference in quality today. So right now, this is the old dipstick tube, which Jeff drilled out. I made this just to kind of plug it. It's not really good for long term. Found out that this bolt, which goes right here, which holds this bracket for the bottom of the manifold, this fits inside here. It's a little loose, but at least the head fits. So I went and bought some today. They're a little longer, as you can see. So I think what we're gonna do is put some Honda Bond on this guy, and then put it in the hole. And let that sit on the bond. Honda.
Hold it right there! The main event!
I got it on me.
Prepare for decontamination.
That's for a wideband. BJ, when he had this motor, he had they had a aftermarket fuel pressure regulator. I'm putting the OEM one on because right now I'm just trying to get things running. Now last night I put on this one, and I'm gonna put on this one right here. But come to find out, Jeff was looking at them and was like, "Those are too small." I was like, "Well, they're supposed to be for 5/16 hose. Like this is a 5/16 hose bar, but the AN fittings in here are supposed to be." And I measured them, looked them up, and lo and behold, they're AN4, which maybe that is appropriate, but AN4 is smaller than 5/16. So it's supposed to have AN6. So I ordered AN6 stuff, so the fuel stuff's not done. Gotta put the last oomph on these oil pan bolts. So we got this plate, which goes in here. Oh fuck. Well, that's just weird. Look. I don't know if you can tell, but I was tightening this up because I was like, wait, there's a gap. Tighten it, and it snapped. That's weird. You can't really tell, but on the back side of these stays, they're got these thick backings. The one on the other side had a thick backing here, but not here. And I almost wonder if this had eroded away or rusted away, because it was from the motor that this transmission came out of. That's why I know these stays go to this transmission.
No, you are so dumb.
Somehow, like, a part of that had rusted away and broken off or something like that. But that's what it was. There was a gap, and I was pulling in, and that's what cut it right there, snapped it, cracked it, whatever.
You are really dumb. For real.
See, what happened was I was being a dumbass and forgot that the motor mounts for the rear sump oil pan go behind that transmission stay bracket, as you can see here in this picture. That gap was created by motor mounts. I'm dumb. I am so dumb.
Alright, we're down here on the ground, because got the ground strap in. Do need to get the starter one in, but we're down here to put in the slave cylinder. As I'm recording this, I'm also watching YouTube by Sloth King Garage.
So it's like this, turn it around, face it this way, and just slide it onto that hook.
There we go. Sweet, sweet Caroline. Alright, so I got the starter wire and the ground on. Clipped some wires that were not terminated. Got all that ready to go. Also, this is the first time I've had this car ever the whole rear end up, so I just went one side, and I've always kind of wondered, do I have an LSD or not? Anyway, can't really see the other side. Both moving forward, both moving back. That usually is a sign there's an LSD in there. brightness is super high. That's why I was like, that's why I shut down. I looked at the ISO. I was like, fuck, it's gonna be grainy as fuck. But I can do that stuff easier when the motor's out, so it's not a big deal. I just want to know if we're shutting down or if I'm sitting around waiting to figure out what we're doing.
Alright, just shut
Alright,
it down.
should I leave? Alright, so it's been a few days. I got sick. We went to go put the motor in, and Jeff made me stop because he noticed one of the rack bushings was torn. I'm kind of pointing more at the driver's side one because that was the one that was torn. But he wanted me to try to 3D print some, and I did it, but it takes like 4 hours to print one of those, and then if you're wrong, you gotta try again. And I told him, like, look, let's just put the old ones back in there. These would be fine if I was just driving around town. And that's what we need to do, just get this thing moving. And so he let me put them back in. Of course, his logic is that it's easier to do these. It's easier to do these now while the motor's out, and he's absolutely right. But when the car was over there in the tent, there were things such as the rack bushings. I was like, hey, why don't we just go ahead and replace these now? And like also the power steering line. And he was like, nah, just let's get the motor in there. But now that he's actually looking at it, he's changed his mind. This is my W58 drive shaft from my MX83 Cressida. Actually, it's a W58 from my MX73, which I put in my MX83 when I 5-2 swapped it. Yeah, I had to swap out not only the carrier bearing, center support bearing, excuse me, and the flange. Now, looking over here, this is the R154 one from a Toyota Supra. As you can see, that that bearing is a lot different than this one. So that's what I'm doing right now, is swapping those. It looks like the flanges are the same, so I don't need to swap the flanges. And when I put my MX83 back together, I'll just have to get a new one of these. These were like 50 bucks. Now they're like 70 bucks. And I was like, I could buy one, but it's like,
You cheap bastard.
I removed the bolts out of this one. So usually it has a little piece that is chiseled in, then you chisel it out, and you whoop, impact it out, and look, comes apart pretty easily. Please don't roll off my knee. Please don't roll off my knee. And then this guy just, come on. There we go. Right to my crotch.
Right in the nuts. That was beautiful.
Alright, so we got our packages in. Hopefully we'll have the right fittings for the wheel here. Oh shit.
Excuse me, brah. You're excused.
Either from Amazon or People. So the first one's supposed to be the 14.5. It's so weird. These things are, you know how they're aluminum? They feel so light, like they could break so easily. Alright, there we go. So you go get some oil for the threads. Let's check out the other side. To the other side.
I must have called 1,000 times.
Fuck you!
Then these go on. Can't really see. We'll be right back after these messages.
Mark II それは進化し続けるもの The New West Mark II 誕生
Got the fuel line on there, got it tightened. Gotta just route it to the return just so that these stay sealed till they're hooked up. As I know now, everything is ready to go in the car. The engine's ready to go in the car. Hopefully, next time I hit record. I measured the width of the radiator support and the width of the, and it should fit by like an inch. Does it look good, guys? Hold on. It needs to go up a little bit. The Now that one's actually sitting on there. Oh!
Straight in there.
This one needs to come.
I know.
Okay.
Need a hammer. You got a little mallet? Nah, man.
Is that a mallet?
Not a dead blow.
Oh, that's all I have.
That's it.
Got the engine in, transmission's hooked up. I've hooked up all the grounds from the back of the transmission to the ones by the bell housing to the one on the firewall from the engine. So yeah, everything is hooked up. We're not starting it today. Still need to get the igniter, still need to get the airflow meter, get a battery, hook that stuff up, put oil in it, things like that. Hook up the ECU and stuff like that. But we're not doing it today because Jeff's not here right now, and I don't know if you can tell, but you see how dry the grass is? Or right here. When we start this, we're going to do it under like fire watch condition, just because, so I'm not going to do it by myself. Jeff's going to be here in case there is a fire, because I do have fuel fittings that are new that could leak. There's a lot of stuff, and in that direction there was actually a like a brush fire, and when I say that, you might think, oh, someone threw a cigarette butt, but it was actually caused by a backfire from a car. It's been so dry. When you watch this video, you'll remember that we had a very dry summer in the south. So just being cautious. We're gonna do that when Jeff's here. But yeah, that's where I'm in the video. So next video we will be starting. That'll be the next video. So till then, goodbye.